Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto is a fox wizard at Hogwarts. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Raptor Fanfiction and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. He kidnapped a child. What was more, he was in big trouble. Sirius Black had thought he had witnessed Peter Pettigrew kill 14 muggles, and he knew that the muggles who had not been killed would have said that he was the one to kill those muggles. Of course, Sirius was willing to take credit for it so long as Peter was dead. He had planned to make the traitor's death slower though, far slower than a question spell to cause an explosion. He had been ready to spend his entire life in prison for it. A witness saw something. 2 of the muggles had a child with magic. A child with magic that had seen Peter transform into a rat during the explosion, something that Sirius had missed. Sirius had not seen Peter do that, but the child had mentioned something that only a few people alive knew about Peter. The fact that he was an animagus, and could transform himself into a rat. So, Sirius had a brief moment of clarity, where his need for revenge did not take over. This child saw his parents murdered by Peter, and I have no doubt that Peter heard him tell me that he saw him turn into a rat. Sirius had no choice but to kidnap the child, because the situation was complicated as complicated could be. A young Japanese boy, going by his name of Naruto Uzumaki, who seemed to have just been unlucky enough to have been traveling overseas with his parents for a trip. He was a witness, and that made him a target for Peter to silence, so that he didn't tell the ministry about him. Peter was a coward, and wouldn't hesitate to kill an innocent child, so Sirius couldn't allow himself to get taken to prison when that would lead to a child's death. He knew he wasn't going to get a trial, so he would never get to tell his side of the story. Most people suspected of being Death Eaters didn't get trials at the moment. Only the rare few who were of influence had that luxury. Peter didn't want it getting out that he had survived, that was a fact. So this Voldemort guy is a bad guy. The worst guy. Sirius had to explain some of the wizarding world to the child. He frowned as he looked around his old family home. Nearly all of the previous owners other than him and his mother were dead. He had no desire to ever come back here, but it was one of the safest places that he could hide from the authorities. He was now suspected in killing 14 muggles and 1 wizard after all, in broad daylight, with over a dozen muggle witnesses having seen him do it, and those same muggles having seen him kidnap an unknown child. Getting caught meant going to prison, and never getting his revenge, and putting not only the child witness in danger, but his very own godson in danger. I thought you might be here, Sirius. It would be the last place anyone would look for you. Sirius grabbed his wand and jumped to his feet in an instant, while the young child on the other hand seemed just confused. An elderly man was standing behind Sirius, now in front of him, and was calmly looking at Sirius, disappointment in his eyes. I didn't do it, I swear it. Sirius dropped his wand down to the floor, and he kicked it away so that he could show that he didn't want to fight. The second he saw the aging wizard, his desire to fight went to zero. Not that he would have a chance to win even if he did put up a fight. Albus Dumbledore. The greatest wizard of the age, somebody even the worst dark wizard of all time feared, a duel with this man would end with him going to prison. Sirius made himself as non-threatening as possible as he raised both of his hands up, but Albus didn't even have his wand out against him. He walked over to Naruto, the young child, and just smiled down kindly at him behind his half-moon glasses. But Sirius, you were the Potter's secret keeper. We switched. We figured Voldemort would think it was me, so I suggested that they switch to Peter. Nobody would suspect a coward like him would get picked for such an important role. Peter is still alive. Sirius explained in a hurry. His heart was racing, but he saw Albus slowly turn towards him. Peter, he's an animagus, all of us were. Peter, James, and I all learned how to do it when we in school, so we could spend time with Remus during the full moon. Sirius saw a brief flash of genuine surprise overtake Albus' features. Albus frowned for a moment. Then I'll ease your heart, Sirius, young Harry Potter is safe. He is with his aunt and uncle, and as long as he is with them, until his 17th birthday, the protections I placed on him will keep him safe from Voldemort, and his Death Eaters, for I know Voldemort is not dead. Albus saw Sirius did ease up. One of the biggest things Sirius was worried about was ease from him, the fact that his godson would be protected by enchantments cast by Albus himself. He frowned, since he knew that meant that he couldn't take Harry in with him. So young Naruto, how are you feeling? I'm feeling good. Do you understand what happened to your parents? Would you like to talk to me about them? Albus was kindly to the child in the room. He glanced at Sirius, knowing the situation was very complicated. Do you have any family we can have you go to? No. He's a wizard, but he's muggle-born. Neither of his parents had wands on them, I checked. His magic protected him from the explosion. Albus, we can't send him away. He would be in danger, Peter. The Death Eaters, the Ministry would just modify his memories to forget these events, to forget how his parents died. Sirius felt the deepest of sympathies for the child. He knew that the Mini-Tri didn't know the child wasn't a muggle, so that would change his memories so that he thought he either never had parents, or his parents died in some other way. Since he was a child, they would never believe him when he said Peter killed them. The boy would be forced to never know how his parents died, if he ever even knew about them. He was young enough for sure that the Ministry might think it a mercy for him to just never remember his parents at all. I'm a wizard, Naruto told Albus with a wide smile. You are? Well, that's wonderful news. Albus could tell the child was young enough to not really know what was going on. His memories of his parents would fade away as time went on, simply because he was just too young to really understand what was going on. He couldn't be more than 2 or 3 years old, maybe 4 at the most. I'll see that my school has a place for you, so you can become learned in magic. You might even be in Gryffindor, just like Sirius. Albus glanced towards Sirius. The implication was there. I can't take care of him. I'll be on the run soon enough. My mother will wake up and report me. I can't keep her under a charm forever. Sirius had his mother charmed and tied up in her bedroom, and eventually those charms would come undone. She was his last close family member left, and he hated her, and she hated him. He had no choice but to do it in order to have a place to think for some time. You believe me? You believe I didn't do it? Sirius looked at Albus. I don't believe you didn't do it, I just don't believe you to be a liar. I will do my best to clear your name, but I don't have high hopes. Everyone already believes you to be a supporter of Voldemort, who killed 14 muggles, and they are praising Peter a hero. Sirius gripped his hand into a fist upon hearing that. Well, I just have to go into hiding in a muggle community. I think I know just a place that Death Eaters and Peter can't go. A place that might just be perfect. Sirius stated with a slow, prankster-like grin going over his face. Years later. 11 inches cherry with dragon heartstring, nice and unyieldy, he said, I can't wait to go to Hogwarts. Hey. Naruto laughed as he pointed his new wand, which just felt right in his hand, at the undone dishes and they started to do themselves. Sirius barked out a laughter when he saw Naruto have his magic do his chores for him. The two of them lived alone in a small house with a fenced-off backyard, in a small muggle community. Sirius took on the identity of his dead brother Regulus Argus Black. Since nobody ever found his brother's body, it was easy for him to take on that identity in public. What was better was the fact that his mother died, from her oldest son becoming a criminal and her youngest son adopting a mud-blood after magically reappearing to life. The stress of it all killed her. He was only Regulus in public though. Behind closed doors he remained serious to those very few who he trusted enough to send messages of the truth to. Boy, you've got the trace on you now, you can't be doing magic. Sirius grinned at Naruto's rule-breaking already. Not just rule-breaking, law-breaking. I mean, they know magic was done around me, not that I did magic. The trace is kind of stupid like that. After all, I do live with a wizard. Naruto had absolutely no intention of stopping himself from doing magic before or after school. Sirius had let him practice magic with his wand for years, even before the trace was put on him. He had some experience with magic, and though he was young, he had more experience with magic than other children his age. It's stupid for me to not practice magic for months, just because I'm not at school. Anyway, rules are just made to be broken, just got to be smart about breaking them. Naruto stated. Sirius gave a bark-like laugh, to which Naruto responded with his own fox-like snicker. That's a good one, looks like the Dursleys are going out, and would you look at that, they're leaving Harry with Fig. It would be a shame if something happened to their postbox. Sirius suggested to Naruto as he glanced out the window. He picked the perfect neighborhood, since he could keep a distant eye on Harry. He had to be distant, at Albus' request, but he could see the mistreatment. So, he and Naruto made the Dursleys' life a living hell every time they caused Harry to suffer, secretly of course. Just their mail. Oh, I've got a better idea. Looks like they've got important places to be. It would be a shame if Naruto took careful aim out of the window. Pop. The back tire on their car popped loudly, and Naruto took a victory lap around the living room. He and Sirius linked arms and danced in a circle, before they went back to the window and enjoyed the sight of a very fat man, his super fat son, and his skinny, bony wife get out of their car. In the distance, Harry could be seen laughing on his way to Fig's house, though he was covering his laughter the best he could. Nice. Your turn. Naruto offered Sirius with a bow. Got it. Sirius pulled out his wand, and when Vernon bent over to get to changing his tire, Sirius swung his wand, and the seat of his pants split wide open. The two of them high-fived the second they saw the man jump up to his feet, only to collapse when his belt snapped, and his pants fell to his ankles. Sirius looked at Naruto, who had his wand out and pointed at the man. Sirius wiped a fake tear from his eye. Didn't miss a beat, never missed a chance to make a horrible man's life worse. When you get to Hogwarts, put those clemency lessons I gave you to use and give Snape a hard time. Sirius did 3 things magically for Naruto growing up. 1. He helped his ward brew an animagus potion, so that if he ever got into too much trouble, he could use that method to escape. 2. He taught him a clemency, so that he could protect his mind against those who would probe it. 3. Naruto was extremely bad at pronouncing words, so he made sure to teach Naruto how to do things nonverbally, to fix his weakness. Took years to do it, but with a lot of practice with Sirius' wand, he learned how to do spells without having to say anything. He himself couldn't do wandless magic well, so he couldn't teach Naruto that, but he would have if he could have. One day Voldemort would be back, Albus thought so he wanted Naruto to be ready for when that day came. That meant teaching him defensive magic at a younger age than other children were learning it. He looked forward to the day that he could fight side by side against evil with him. When is Lupin going to get here? Albus Dumbledore, Rubeus Hagrid, Remus Lupin, the professors at Hogwarts. These were the only people that Albus had convinced with the truth, which allowed Sirius some level of comfort in knowing the truth about him wasn't just known to himself and Naruto. Do me a favor, and don't do magic when he gets here, he believes rules are important, Sirius stated to Naruto. The fireplace erupted in green flames minutes later. Lupin walked out of the fire. Hey Lupin, watch this. Naruto pointed his wand at the chair in the living room, and he turned it into a chicken for absolutely no reason. Sirius just roared with laughter when Naruto directly went against what he asked in favor of causing Lupin to look at him with shock for a moment, only for the man to whip his own wand out and turn the chicken back into a chair. I see he's inherited your disdain for the rules. Lupin gave Sirius a reproachful look. You've got the trace on you now, Naruto, you must not do magic outside of school. Naruto waved him off. Bah! They can't tell it's me doing the magic, just that magic is happening around me. The way I see it, that means I can do as much magic as they want, and they will just think Sirius is doing it. Naruto saw no reason to follow a dumb rule that couldn't be tracked back to him. As long as he didn't do magic in front of a person from the Ministry of Magic, there was no reason at all for him to follow their rules. They were stupid for thinking Sirius was guilty. Rules were made to be followed when possible, but I can see I'm arguing with a brick wall, so I'll drop it. Lupin knew a losing battle when he saw one. Naruto didn't drop it. While all the other wizards stopped practicing magic for months, I'm going to get ahead of them. I already have a few years of practice with Sirius' wand, and now I get even more practice when everyone else is forced to do things the Muggle way. The way I see it, I've got this in the bag. I'm a storm, and a storm is going to overtake Hogwarts. Naruto stepped on the chair like the captain of a ship. Sirius turned the chair back into a chicken, and Naruto collapsed forward, falling to the ground with a loud thud. Sirius blocked a jinx moments later. Oh, so we're going to be dueling, okay then. You're about to learn a shield charm, the painful way. Sirius had a grin when he said that, since he had been forced to block a jinx that came out of nowhere. Naruto just stood up, brushed himself off, and got his wand ready. Big man on campus, got his own wand, now thinks he is top dog. Let's knock that down a few pegs. I'm not the big man, I'm the foxy bastard. Come on, old man. Naruto sent a hex at Sirius that he deflected, and it destroyed a table. Naruto sent another hex at Sirius, only for it to get deflected, and Sirius knocked Naruto's wand out of his hand. Naruto caught it, and he sent another jinx at Sirius, who blocked it again. Both Sirius and Naruto lost their wands when Lupin disarmed both of them with a sigh, catching their hands in his outstretched hand. You'll both be getting these back when I leave. Lupin waved his wand and undid the destruction they did to the living room. These two were a headache. I hate being here. Well, me too, cleaning this blackened place is never fun. Naruto groaned in annoyance as he opened a closet, and pixies came flying out. It was a week before he was going to be at Hogwarts, and he and Sirius were cleaning out the Black family estate. Creature, get in here and help. Naruto called out for the house elf to come out of hiding. Sirius was always in a foul mood when he was in this building. Creature. Yes, sir, the elderly elf walked into the room, not when Naruto called, but when Sirius ordered it. A blood traitor who adopted a mud blood into the family he might be, but still a black he is. The elf cursed and whispered under his breath. Sirius kicked him. You call him a mudblood again, and see what happens to you. Naruto rolled his eyes at the insult, not finding himself caring. I need some stuff out of here for pranks. Sirius, like pixie venom is super useful in this thing I'm wanting to make. I'm thinking of making a charmed candy that will give you magical gas, right? Foul stuff. Naruto wanted to come to the Black Estate in order to collect stuff that would be useful, and even though Sirius hated the idea of arriving at the place, the idea that Naruto was going to prank somebody was well worth it. Naruto picked up a locket with a raised eyebrow, and tried to open it, but he failed to do so. My brother's locket, sometime after he got cold feet with Voldemort, that was in his room. Sirius somewhat recognized the locket. Neat, it has a heartbeat. Naruto noted when he felt the small mechanical ticking that felt just like a heartbeat in his hand. He took his wand out and tapped the S on the front of it a few times, to see if that would open it, but he shrugged and put the locket down on a table. I felt something super wrong about that locket, don't know why, but I might want to break it. Naruto just felt the urge to destroy the locket. Naruto looked at Sirius when he waved his wand, and a fire bit the painting of his own mother. No! Shut it, creature. Sirius felt no sympathy for the elf as he set fire to the painting, and the woman in the painting screamed. You know, Sirius, if we cleaned this place out and used the Fidelius charm, maybe added more protective charms to this place, Dumbledore might let Harry live here away from the Dursleys. Naruto stated to Sirius, who looked towards Naruto with a sparkle in his eye. The reason Sirius couldn't take Harry. Dumbledore told Sirius that the man placed a charm over Harry that would protect him from Death Eaters and Voldemort from ever attacking him at his home, for as long as he lived with a blood relative. This charm was different than the charm that Harry's mother cast on him with her death that protected him from just Voldemort. It stopped those that wished to do him harm, that were aligned with the dark arts, from going to his place of residence so long as it was a blood relative living there with him. Right you are. Sirius laughed as he got to work with more pep in his step. We can also redecorate everything, make this place no longer the black home. What say you, Sirius, old boy, shall we get a bit destructive? Naruto asked Sirius with a bow of politeness, which Sirius could hear the playfulness in his tone. Sirius bowed right back to him, and there was that twinkle in his eye once more. I think you mean constructive. Ah yes, that is the word. Hours later. Everything was destroyed. Everything that was not valuable in the house was destroyed completely. The man and the boy who had been working on cleaning the place had left nothing unjinxed in their wake. Cabinets, tables, chairs, even the wallpaper was ripped apart completely after they had gone from room to room. Naruto himself had a bag of magical creatures that had been hiding in stuff, which was just materials for prank goods if he was being honest. This was therapy. This was productive. Naruto corrected Sirius. You want to do it, or should I? Naruto looked at Creature, who was unable to stop them due to an order from Sirius, and was visibly struggling to hold himself back. The house elf was not having a good day at all, and Naruto wanted to do something to ease the elderly elf's discomfort. Let the elf suffer, I know I suffered here all my childhood. Sirius had his mood going bad again. Naruto rolled his eyes. Can't you just erase the rest of the Black family from his memories or something? It would be nice to have a house elf that didn't hate my guts for no reason. Naruto was horrible with memory charms, seeing as he could never practice them with Sirius' wand. After all, you couldn't really do a memory charm with nothing to practice on. The most he could do was make a person forget where they put their car keys. Now that he could do. He did it to the Dursleys all the time, make them forget things like keys, but that was the extent of what he could do. Creature seemed like he was on the verge of a mental breakdown. I would rather use the killing curse on him than a memory charm. Sirius deadpanned, not caring if the elf suffered or not. He looked at the elf with disgust, since it had been part of the reason he had such a horrible childhood. The resentment in his eyes was real, and Naruto could see that there was no reasoning with him. Actually, I would not be opposed to killing the horrible thing. Sirius pointed his wand at Creature. Naruto hummed in thought as he looked between Sirius and Creature, and there was so much visible hatred between the two of them. Don't kill the dumb thing, I've got the trace of me, so they will know the killing curse was used around me. The law states use of any of these curses on a human. The curses aren't illegal to use, just illegal to use on people. Creature isn't a person. Honestly, I really don't want this constant reminder of my childhood to be here. Sirius knew the law like the back of his hand. He put his wand up, before he sighed when he saw Naruto sending him a look. Creature, erase your own memories of anything to do with my family, except for me. Sirius knew the elf had powerful enough magic to do such a thing. That is a direct order. Sirius finished. Creature did it. The elf calmed down as the memories of the family it was loyal to left his mind, and he was able to slowly stand back up. You know, you could have just done that from the beginning. I really would have made cleaning this place easier. Sirius agreed. Creature paint all of the walls in the house red, and paint all the frames gold. Gryffindor colors. Sirius gave an order, and the house elf bowed, before leaving the room to get it done. Sirius laughed like a mad dog, barking out in joy. He punched Naruto's arm. Ow. When you get back from school, this place will be the exact opponent of what it was before. You better believe it. Not a single memory of the Black Estate will remain, Sirius stated to Naruto with a sure tone. He was going to get rid of everything black and green, and replace them all with red and gold. The colors of his schoolhouse, and all dark and cursed objects were going to be replaced with no things. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. He and Sirius started to leave the house, when a gold glint caught his eye, and Naruto looked back at the locket as it once more came into his vision. Can I give this to Dumbledore, Sirius? I feel bad stuff coming from it. Naruto picked up the locket, with a frown working over his face. It was purely a gut feeling. If there were any wizard who would know what to do with the locket, it was the most powerful wizard of the age. His gut feeling told him that leaving the locket alone would end badly for everyone. Throw it in the trash if you want, he thing has a snake on it. No snakes in this house anymore, Sirius said joyfully. He wrapped an arm around Naruto's shoulder and started to sing, purely from how happy he was to destroy the legacy of his family before him. Best son a man could ask for right here. The idea of destroying this place never even occurred to me. Sirius couldn't help the barks of laughter. I don't know, it would suck if I was in Slytherin. Ha 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 ha. Naruto and Sirius laughed together at his joke, since as a Muggleborn, Naruto literally did not fit the conditions of going into that house. Hogwarts was going to be fun. Okay, here is my fatherly advice for you. Sirius stood in front of Naruto, who had all of his school luggage with him. Sirius had the wild grin of his own show as he had a twinkle of revenge in his eye. Show off. Show off? I have been teaching you magic since you were 5 years old. As far as school is concerned, you should be in your 6th year. You can know nonverbal magic, and you've learned some wandless magic, can do occlumency, you're excellent at defensive magic and charms. You're going to be very bored during your time at Hogwarts. Sirius bragged about his adopted son. You didn't spend almost 7 years teaching a boy magic, and not take pride that he was good at it. Voldemort would be back one day, and he had wanted to make sure that Naruto would get an early start on his magical education. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There would be another wizarding war one day when Voldemort returned, and there was no telling when it would happen. As a Muggleborn, that made Naruto a prime target for being killed, and since Naruto had personally seen Peter escape the day his parents died, there would be attempts on his life for sure. It was the responsible thing to do to teach him to defend himself. Show off, Naruto repeated, much more sure of himself. Now, in Filch's office, there is a map of Hogwarts that myself and the others left behind for some mischief makers to find in the future. It will teach you everything you need to know. Get it when you can. Sirius gave that advice to Naruto as well. The map would serve to make his pranks go much more smoothly in the future. He saw Naruto show off a hungry smirk at what could be done with that map. Do your homework though, save yourself some detentions. Sirius would rather Naruto avoid detention for that reason. Naruto's face changed to bored, but he nodded. He grabbed his trunk and went towards the train, waving to Sirius as he did. Naruto breathed in the air of the train, before he went to find himself a compartment to park himself for the ride. Hours later. Boredom. Naruto was amusing himself his chocolate frogs from chocolate, to real frogs, and then back to chocolate. He was sitting alone in the compartment, since apparently there were a lot less people that were starting school with him in his year. Nobody his age seemed to want to sit with him, because they already had friends of their own. Using his own wand instead of Sirius' wand was such an improvement. The feel in his hand was better, and he had so much more control of the magic he used. He had studied for almost 7 years using a wand that was not his and did not want to properly obey him, and now that he was using his own, he just felt so much more right about using magic with it. So far none of his spells that he learned were failing him, and he could fine-tune his magic better. He turned the frogs into tadpoles, before he turned them into chocolate again, only now they were chocolate tadpoles. He switched his wand and multiplied them from 3 tadpoles to about 300 of them, and turned the frog box into a glass bowl to hold them all in. The chocolate tadpoles flopped around in the bowl, before he allowed them to levitate while inside of the bowl. Neat tricks, you did that without saying the spells. Neat, he looks our age, little more than neat. Weasleys, Naruto stated with a chuckle when he saw two boys enter his compartment, and sat themselves down. They were pale-skinned, red-haired, and their faces were covered in freckles. That was the textbook definition of a Weasley, according to Sirius, who had told him about that older wizarding family. They wore hand-me-down school robes, and he could see that these boys were twins. I can only do nonverbal magic, can't really pronounce stuff great. Naruto waved his wand and sent two tadpoles out of the bowl. They aged into chocolate frogs and landed in the twins' mouths when they opened them up to speak. Wicked. They spoke in unison as they ate the chocolate frogs and made themselves comfortable, and soon enough another boy joined them in the compartment. Naruto was introduced to Fred and George, and their new friend Lee Jordan. So, were you hoping to be sorted? At the sorting. The sorting was just putting a hat on somebody's head. Uzumaki Naruto, meaning he was among the people who would be going last in his year to be sorted. The only people behind him were Fred and George, and some boy with a sinister air about him. Naruto Uzumaki. An elderly woman spoke with a brisk tone, and Naruto walked towards the stool that sat in front of the great hall. He sat down, and she moved behind him to put the hat on his head. The hat got comfortable on his head. Hmm? Naruto hummed in response to the voice in his head. The hat took several minutes, and it didn't say a word to him. Muggleborn, I see, not Slytherin, cunning, oh so cunning, and with an impressive talent for magic. Ravenclaw would be a great fit, but knowledge gained through practice and hard work. You could easily be in Hufflepuff, then again quite brave, very much filled with courage. The Sorting Hat was now seemingly frustrated that he was having this much trouble placing Naruto into a house. 14 minutes passed. 20 minutes had passed, and the teachers were now very curiously looking at Naruto, since the hat was stalling longer than any other student. Hat stalls were exceedingly rare, and usually only happened to complicated students. The Sorting Hat took more time in silence as its folds tightened up. You value trust and friendship, would rather die than betray a friend, a very Gryffindor trait, but you are very accepting of others. To a fault, even Hufflepuff would be a nice place. The Sorting Hat spoke, and Naruto's face was turning red as he had his traits just defined to himself like this. It was very embarrassing having everything about himself just put out there like this. Then again, your potential for creativity is a sign of a star Ravenclaw, but it's geared towards mischief, a very Gryffindor thing to be. 30 more minutes passed. Now Albus Dumbledore himself leaned forward with great interest, since the Sorting Hat had never taken almost a full hour to sort a student before. The headmaster looked at Naruto with a bright twinkle in his eye, while other students were caught up in the moment. Students years 2 to 7 were all waiting with bated breath for the moment the hat stopped stalling and shouted out what house he would be in. Where do you want to go? The Sorting Hat asked Naruto for what he wanted. Gryffindor. The hat shouted out for the school, when it read Naruto's mind for the answer. Naruto stood up with a sense of great relief that the hat had just decided to let him decide where he was going to go instead of stalling any longer. He sat down at the red and gold table, and he made brief eye contact with Dumbledore. He felt the locket in his pocket stress up, and he could feel a pit form in his stomach at how whatever was inside of this object was afraid of Dumbledore. It sensed him. After the feast, Naruto stood up with all of the other Gryffindors, but instead of following after the prefect of their house, he went towards the teacher's table. He walked straight towards the headmaster himself, who looked at Naruto curiously as he approached the table. Mr. Uzumaki, please head towards your common room. I have something to deliver to Professor Dumbledore from Regulus. Naruto lied, and he felt a look of hatred from one of the teachers, most likely Snape, when he said that name. For some reason, he thought that it looked like Dumbledore knew he was lying. Naruto took the pocket locket out, and just sat it down in front of the man. Dumbledore grabbed it by the chain and lifted it up. I see, and why did Regulus want me to have this? Dumbledore had only a brief moment of confusion. He ran his fingers over the object, and seemed to be looking for some signs of magic, which he then found as he was surprised for only a brief moment. Regulus sensed something was wrong, off dark about it. I feel like something is alive and dead but alive inside of it. Naruto slipped slightly, and Dumbledore sent Naruto a very astute look as he judged him behind his half-moon glasses, with kind eyes. The man gently set the locket down and looked directly at Naruto. He smiled. Well, I would say that Regulus has very sharp instincts, and a great intuition for dark magic. And might I ask, did Regulus say what he believed might be inside of this locket, what may be alive inside? Dumbledore very gently pressed Naruto for more information. No, he wanted his opinion, like a test. Naruto didn't quite understand how to put it into words. I don't know, it just feels like it's evil, and something is wrong with it. It feels like it doesn't belong, it needs to be destroyed. Naruto stated his opinion on the object. It just felt so wrong to him on a very conceptual level. Like something about it should have never existed, and it offended him down to his very soul. Dumbledore nodded his head. I agree, very sharp instincts, I will see to it that it is destroyed then. Dumbledore assured Naruto. Naruto felt relief. There was an immense wave of relief that just washed over him when he heard Dumbledore say that he was going to destroy the locket. He would sleep well that night for sure. Easy. Naruto had been doing real magic since he was much younger, thanks to Sirius letting him use the man's own wand to learn. While most first years had no experience using magic, Naruto had several years of private study and tutorship under a person who fought against Death Eaters and was recognized as one of the most talented students Hogwarts had ever produced. Transfiguration? Easy. Defense against the dark arts? Child's play, charms? A joke. History of magic? Boring, though he was barely passing that class. Astronomy? Not hard at all. Herbology? He was Professor Sprout's favorite student. The only class that Naruto struggled with was potions class, and not because of the fact that he found it even slightly challenging. The only reason he struggled in that class was that he had a teacher that was purposely going out of his way to make Naruto's life a living hell in that class. The fact was that Naruto was top of his class, even in potions. The simple reason he was at the top of the class was because the teacher was so hard on him that if he made even one mistake at all, it would cost his house points. Naruto was a student with the skills of a sixth-year student, who was stuck as a first year purely because of his age. His constant use of nonverbal magic in any other class earned Gryffindor bonus points, and earned him much less homework than his other classmates. Not a single teacher had been able to offer him anything to learn yet, seeing as he had already learned all of the magic that he would learn between the years of 1 and 5. He was surprised that they just didn't have him study with the 6th years already and get it done with. Had 25 points to Gryffindor. Naruto called out in a voice that showed he was imitating somebody else. Sirius barked out laughter as Naruto recounted how he had earned Gryffindor so many points just by performing a perfect, nonverbal, levitation charm for Professor Flitwick. Naruto mentioned how the object he was supposed to make levitate accidentally landed on top of the head of a Slytherin student after he had earned the points. It was Christmas. Of course, Naruto did not stay at the castle for Christmas. Instead, he opted to return him and be with his adopted family, and of course Remus had joined them for the holidays. It was Christmas morning. Gifts had already been opened and breakfast had been had. It was a cheery time all around, with even Remus looking less tired and more genuinely happy. Ha, I bet Snivellus tried to dock you points for later. Sirius hooked arms with Naruto as the two danced in a circle around each other. Ah, Mr. Uzumaki, it seems you skipped step 6, you did not follow my instructions. Ah, but sir, even without following your instructions, I have achieved the same results. Clearly the instructions you gave could have been shortened by 3 steps if you just crushed the liver. Naruto imitated the professor in question. 15 points from Gryffindor, and detention worth it. Naruto was glad to serve a detention if it meant absolutely owning Snape in class. Worth it. Worth it indeed. Now Naruto, do remember, he is still your professor, you should treat Severus with more respect. Remus spoke up with a cheerful smile. He spoke good words, but the smile on his face did show that he wasn't nearly as disapproving as he spoke out. So, Naruto, tell me, have you made any friends? Meh, I guess I've made a couple. There aren't exactly a lot of people in the same year as me other than the Weasley twins, Lee Jordan, and a couple of others. Naruto made some friends, but he was not particularly close to any of them. There was just that much of a gap between his abilities and their abilities, that it made it hard for him to connect with any of them. Fred and George were super talented in their own right, they might even have more talent than him. His advantage was the years he spent studying with Sirius, and now that he had his own wand he was making so much greater progress with his abilities. He put years of constant hard work into himself before school even started, so a couple of talented first years just wouldn't be able to match him. Weasley red hair, poor, and freckled good folks the Weasley are, knew a couple of them in the last Order of the Phoenix. Sirius nodded in approval. Since you've had a couple of months, how about you and I go out back and see what you can do now? Sirius smirked at Naruto. Law-breaking fun. Naruto grinned back at him. Oh father, I would love to whoop your butt. Outside. The rules are simple, you can't use the same spell more than once, only nonverbal magic, no deadly spells, and if you get knocked out of your circle you lose. Sirius explained the new rules of their practice duel. He and Naruto had already gone through the dueling rituation of bowing to each other, and now they were both standing in their own circles in the dirt. A barrier was erected over the backyard so no muggles would be able to see or hear what they were going to be doing. You two are reckless fools. Remus was watching with a small smile. Go! Naruto raised his wand up and made the grass in front of him regain all of its color, and grow wildly so that it became a shield for him. The moment that Sirius had shouted go, he pointed his wand at Naruto and sent a powerful jet of water at him. The grass shield blocked the water and scattered it around him. Naruto pulled his wand back as Sirius stopped his spell, and with a slashing motion Naruto cut down his own grass barrier. He then swung his wand a second time and sent all of the grass flying towards Sirius like a swarm of bees. Sirius blasted it with a simple spell that caught the grass on fire. He and Naruto both swung their wands, Naruto with a swish and Sirius with a jab. Sirius made the ashes form a tight, condensed ball that he fired right at Naruto. Naruto, on the other hand, created a thin barrier in front of himself, and when the condensed ash ball hit the barrier it stopped in midair. Naruto ducked down and touched the tip of his wand to the ground. Sirius did a spin as a ball of sparks formed around him, turning into a ring that floated above Sirius. The ball of ash on the other hand landed on the ground, and the second it did Naruto turned the ash into a swarm of actual bees that started to fly towards Sirius. Naruto was already working on his next spell as he stood up straight, and he raised his wand up above his head, with his free hand being raised with it. Sirius killed all of the bees with his ring of sparks, and sent it flying at Naruto, who just aimed the tip of his wand towards his hand. A spear of rock ripped out of the ground and formed a shield that blocked the sparks partially, with most of the sparks harmlessly going around Naruto. Naruto swished his wand and made the sparks vanish before Sirius could do anything with them. His rock spear exploded with a jab of Sirius' wand, an invisible force shattering the stone. He followed up with a stunning spell, with the red sparks quickly approaching Naruto's chest. Ha! Naruto saw it coming and waved his wand. The shattered stone all gathered and transformed into a shield-shaped stone, blocking the stunning spell for Naruto. Good work, you're doing fine, Sirius complimented, and while Naruto maintained his shield, he started to do with a dance of magic with his own wand, never letting his feet leave the circle he stood in. He spoke the first words since the duel started, and he could tell that Naruto spent all of his time at school learning advanced magic. No doubt he snuck into the restricted section of the library at night to learn it, or maybe due to how advanced he was he got permission from some teachers. Either way, the several months that Naruto had been away, he improved his magical abilities. The rule of not using the same spell twice put pressure on both of them to think on the fly. Sirius, nobody thinks on the fly faster than this boy. You might have put yourself at the disadvantage here. Remus had watched Naruto grow for years, and he knew what Naruto's biggest strength was. He was the best on the fly thinker there was, and that combined with his great reflexes meant that he barely needed to think to come up with the best solution to a problem. Not to mention Naruto had studied under Sirius, and thus knew all of his favorite tricks. Ha-ha! Naruto transformed into a fox to jump behind his own shield to dodge a curse that flew at his feet. He jumped off the back of the shield and transformed back into a human, and Sirius gave a huge laugh and grin. He had not expected such a creative use of a Nimigus ability to dodge a spell before, and Naruto pointed his wand at Sirius sent a curse at the man. A simple shield charm blocked the curse, but it gave Naruto the chance to land on his feet. He spun around, and transfigured his shield into a bowling ball. He flung it at Sirius at a high speed, and when it shattered against the shield charm Naruto launched a spell with enough power to shatter the shield charm. You've improved, but not enough. Naruto and Sirius both sent magic beams at each other, with the beams colliding in the middle of the yard, forming a ball between them. They both put both hands on their wands to try and push the ball at each other. Sirius broke the beam struggle with a flick of his wand, the magic ball exploding. You're getting slow, old man. Slow, me, I'm not an elder yet. Sirius even enjoyed the taunting as he sent blue lighting towards Naruto with a few short spirals of his wand. Naruto raised up his own shield charm, but his shield charm started to absorb the lightning into it. Sirius had his spell ended when the entirety of his blue lightning was gathered in a ball in the middle of Naruto's barrier. Ha! Naruto extended both of his arms outwards. The barrier exploded in front of Naruto, with Sirius having his own spell sent back at him in the form of an electrified shockwave. Naruto touched his wand to his temple. He pulled out a silvery memory, and he tossed the memory into the air next to him. With a wave, the memory changed shape and turned into a silvery clone of himself that was standing outside of the circle. Remus looked very interested in this new spell. Naruto and his clone started to send a ton of minor spells and jinxes at Sirius, who was struggling to knock them all away from him. Naruto and his clone were working in tandem to double the threat they possessed. Amazing, he somehow extracted a memory of himself, and then transfigured it into a working clone, and he is using it as a conduit for spellcasting. Remus did his best to think on how it would work, but he had never seen a wizard make a working clone of themselves before like this. Somehow Naruto had managed to turn his own memories into functioning clones of himself. Naruto extracted a second clone while the first one continued to battle Sirius. Now Sirius was really struggling as he faced off against 3 Naruto bodies at the same time, who were all sending a rainbow of different colored sparks and minor spells at him. The sheer amount of them would overwhelm any other wizard, but Sirius was managing to barely keep up. Amazing, just amazing. Sirius blinked when Naruto did the same thing once more and created another clone of himself. Wait a moment. Cheater. You used the same spell several times. Sirius claimed his victory as the duel stopped. Naruto blinked a few times. Bullocks! Naruto cursed and stepped out of his circle. Naruto waved his wand and all of the silvery clones of himself turned into vapor, before they rushed back into his temple, rejoining his head. Sirius sat back and panted a little, having worked up a sweat from defending against multiple clones like he did. Well, you lost. I had you on the ropes. In your wildest dreams, what was that spell? Sirius taunted, before he asked seriously. Naruto shrugged. I invented this spell so I could learn more spells faster, and practice magic by taking out some of my memories of myself. I can make clones, and when the clones disappear, I get all of the memories they made so I can work even harder to master spells at a much faster rate. Naruto had plenty of time, so he used it to improve himself much quicker. He called it shadow cloning magic. By using mere shadows of himself, he could make working clones that could transmit their own memories and experiences back to him. With it, he could create a literal army of himself to use against future Death Eaters once Voldemort came back. By God, son, how and how many can you make? Sirius was shocked. No wonder Naruto had improved so much in the few months he had been away from home. I stopped counting after I made a few hundred, but I've been having them practice magic in the Forbidden Forest while I attend class, but only for a couple of hours a day, too much, and I pass out when I get the memories back. Naruto grinned as he showed how he had made so much progress in such a short time. I've been using this magic for an entire month now. Naruto was very satisfied with himself. Are there any drawbacks? Not really, you just need the mental fortitude to withstand the magic, and I have to manually control the clones so it can get super mentally taxing to do it, so the more I make, the less complicated actions I can make them do. Right now, in battle, they can only do simple spells. Naruto did have limits on what he could do with them. Eventually, though, I'll manage to perfect this spell, and they can act without me controlling them. Naruto still had a ton of work to do to perfect his own spell. Remus pat him on the back. That is very good work, but do take it easy. The mental stress is not good for a boy your age from now on. Do limit yourself to 2 clones to practice with. Remus didn't want Naruto burning himself out after all. I agree with Remus, take the time and enjoy yourself. You're already far above your year if we were judging by skill. At this point, you could graduate school, so do take the time to enjoy being a kid while you still can. Sirius grabbed both of Naruto's arms and knelt down, and gave him genuine advice. As impressed as he was with the magic itself, Naruto was still young, and he felt that using that magic too much would go to his head. If Naruto improved too far above his peers, it may go to his head more than anything else, and cause him to get arrogant. Okay. Naruto nodded his head. So it was a bad idea for me to leave a clone at Hogwarts, so that I could have it set up a big prank to mess with Snape? I love you, son. Sirius wrapped Naruto up in a tight hug. Sirius was damn sure this was what it felt like to be proud of a child as a father. He wanted to shed a tear. The troublesome trio is at it again. This puts Gryffindor at 180 to Ravenclaw's 10 points. Naruto's second year at Hogwarts had something that he had been desperately missing in his first year, and that was the fact that in his second year he was allowed to bring his broom to school. Thanks to that, Naruto had the excitement he needed in the simple fact he had gotten a role on the Quidditch team as the role he desired. A chaser. When the teachers and school accepted you as the most talented wizard in a century for your ability to cast advanced spells, perform nonverbal magic, and get top marks in nearly every subject in class, it was boring. Naruto, due to excelling, was given less homework than the others his age. The better in class you performed, the less homework you actually gave, since teachers gave homework in amounts that corresponded with your level. Naruto zoomed across the Quidditch pitch. He caught a quaffle, intercepting it in midair against the opponent team. Naruto hung off of his broom with one hand and flipped up so that he was standing on his broom, coming to an abrupt stop like he was on a skateboard. Naruto walked backwards before jumping forward on his broom to flip his entire broom backwards. With that, Naruto started to fly backwards towards the Ravenclaw goals before the others in the air could twist and turn the normal way. Naruto gained a huge head start from that trick. By the time he got to the other end of the pitch, the Ravenclaw players had finally started to fly towards Naruto to make an attempt. Naruto jumped off of his broom and swung his arm. Halfway through swinging his arm, he flung the quaffle towards the left hoop, but he completed his throwing motion towards the right hoop. In that split second, the keeper was delayed by a fraction of a second, but that was enough for Naruto to score another goal. Haha! Fred flew up right next to Naruto. George flew up on his other side, and they both clanged their bats together above Naruto's head. Naruto was still falling towards the ground, but he extended his hand to his broom and it zoomed right to him. Naruto resumed flying, and raised both of his hands up, with the twins both patting the palms of his hands with their bats. They flew off back towards where the bludger was, but Naruto watched the keeper toss the quaffle back to one of the Ravenclaw chasers. 190 points to Gryffindor. The second-year student Uzumaki is truly showing he earned his nickname, the Flying Fox, in his games against Slytherin and Hufflepuff. Ravenclaw needs to score 3 times and catch the snitch if they want to tie. As if. Naruto watched where the opponent chasers were passing the quaffle to each other, and he whipped towards their direction. Naruto ignored every member of his own team that weren't other chasers. Naruto flew above the chaser on the left of him, and flipped upside down. He fell off his broom as the chasers passed the ball between each other, and Naruto catched the ball as he passed right in front of the chaser about to receive the ball. His broom got under him, and Naruto made a straight shot towards the goal. It only took a few more moments. Another goal to Gryffindor. They now lead Ravenclaw by 190 points. Will Ravenclaw be able to score and catch the snitch? Naruto looked at the Ravenclaw captain, who must have told his seeker to not catch the snitch until they were in a position to win. The seeker looked frustrated to be sure, and when Naruto passed by the students from Ravenclaw and Slytherin who were watching the game, they gave him very loud boos showing how much they were against him beating Ravenclaw, and the Slytherins just hated him for other reasons. Like being a Gryffindor, or being a mudblood. Yeah, him being adopted into the Black family meant nothing when it got out that his parents were just regular muggles. A bludger came right at him. Man, it must be boring for you guys, the other team really hates me. Naruto leaned flat on his broom and pretended to take a nap. Naruto was the athletic type. He loved sports, and the second he could genuinely go for the Quidditch team, he went for it. He was competitive, and he loved to prank and humiliate people. What better sport for him to play than a sport where he could mess with people? After the game, Naruto was tossed up in the air in the common room. Hell of a chaser this one. Wood, the captain of the team, was glad that he had accepted Naruto onto the team. We won 270 to 160. They were forced to catch the snitch just to not be humiliated. Lovely. Wood looked like he wanted to actually cry at the beauty of it. Even though their seeker was horrible at being a seeker, they still managed to pull off a win. Not just a win. 3 wins. They won their match against all 3 of their opponents, and had finished the Hogwarts Quidditch season with an undefeated streak and champions. They gained a ton of points for their house cup, putting them heavily in the lead. Naruto took out his wand and slowed his fall down towards the crowd, before he landed on his feet and bowed. Sirius told him he was a lot like his best friend James. A good wizard and exceedingly popular. Thanks to his years of learning before going to school, he started ahead of everyone else, making it easy for him to win points for his house, and now he was showing himself to be a good sportsman as well. Naruto had quickly become Gonagal's favorite student, seeing as she was a teacher who loved Quidditch, and she loved when her team won. Not to mention Naruto was getting a lot of points for Gryffindor, though Naruto's favorite teacher would still be Sprout, since his favorite subject was still herbology. He loved messing with Snape in class by not making any mistakes at all, and doing every potion better than the books told him. A day that Snape wasn't able to take points from Gryffindor was another day that Naruto had succeeded in pissing the bully off. He gained points from teachers in every class because he could perform his spells that they were teaching without saying them, and had yet to mess up a spell. School was too easy. At least now it was more fun. Naruto. How about the 3 of us go? Stop. Naruto raised his hand up and stopped Fred and George before they could say anything else. Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of paper that Sirius told him about, that he stole from Filch's office. Naruto grinned and opened an eye to look at the twins. The three of us Hogsmeade, let's go get us some sweets. Naruto knew what they were going to say before they even said it. Then, we can see if we can find this Chamber of Secrets in Hogwarts, a history not even the makers of this map could find it. Naruto wanted to truly complete the map. He wanted to find two things: the Chamber of Secrets, and the Room of Requirement. The two things in Hogwarts that were hidden from even the ultimate map. He wanted to find both of them, and add them to the map so that he could finish the map and show it off to Sirius in its complete state. So, what clues do we have to go on? Fred asked. They were in on him wanting to improve the map. 1. Slytherin was an asshat, and wanted to wipe out mudbloods like me, so where can he hide a monster he wants his descendants to use in a school like this? 2. Slytherin was famous for speaking to snakes, so the monster is some kind of snake, no doubt. 3. Apparently 48 years ago, the school was almost closed because some student was killed by the monster. Naruto had 3 clues to go off of in his search for the Chamber of Secrets. He had no clues to use to find the Room of Requirement, but at least he had some clues for the Chamber of Secrets. He wanted to do what Sirius could never do: include 2 hidden locations in Hogwarts onto the map. It was time. It was summer vacation after Naruto's 3rd year at Hogwarts, and while he had not found the Chamber of Secrets like he would have hoped, he did find and plot the Room of Requirement on the map. Sirius had been extremely satisfied with the knowledge that the map was another step closer to truly being completed. It's time, it's time. It isn't time yet. Naruto deadpanned as he looked out the window. They were back in the Muggle house, since Sirius was getting ready to make an extremely important move. It was around the time that Hogwarts letters were sent out, meaning it was only a matter of days before Harry Potter was going to be getting his Hogwarts letter. Naruto too, but Naruto already knew he would be going to Hogwarts. Dumbledore had told Sirius years ago. Harry Potter had 2 forms of protection. 1. Love. When his mother died for him when she need not have died, when she chose to lose her life, she had given him a powerful protection from Voldemort. Voldemort could not kill Harry and his curses would not hold power over him. This protection would last until Harry died. 2. Blood. Dumbledore had cast a powerful magic on Harry that relied on his blood. As long as he lived in the house of a blood relative, he would be protected from the dark forces that would ally with Voldemort. This magic would break when Harry turned 17, or when he could no longer call the Dursleys home, his home. I've waited 11 years. You waited 10 years, not 11. Harry was 1 when his parents died. Think about this though, in a few days we can go right over to the Dursleys' house and threaten them. We both know they won't allow Harry to get that letter. Naruto had Sirius look on the bright side. Now are you going to help me with this, or aren't you? Naruto asked Sirius. What was he doing? Naruto was currently brewing a potion, a very powerful and potent potion. He had been working on the potion all summer to do something, and he could really use some more magical help. Sirius sighed impatiently, but he drew his wand and helped Naruto, who also had wand pointed at the fire underneath the cauldron. The fire turned from blue to white, and the potion started to change color. Is this going to work? Sirius asked with a raised eyebrow. Oh yeah, this is going to work. I already tested it with Fred and George at Hogwarts, and it worked on them. Naruto had made this potion before, but it took a great deal of effort. The trace. All wizards under the age of 17 had the trace on them, placed on them shortly after they started school, that allowed magic to be detected from their general area when they or somebody around them cast a spell. It broke the second that a wizard became 17 years old, and then it became impossible to place the wizard under another trace of the same kind. Fred and George sent me a letter, saying they went to a Muggle village near their house and used magic, but nothing from the Ministry of Magic, so it worked. This potion can break the trace on underage wizards. Naruto had a money-making scheme. He gave it to Fred and George for free since they agreed to let him test it on them, but he planned to sell this potion in the future in secret to fellow mischief makers. Oh, is this another money-making scheme I smell? Sirius started to grin when he realized that this was another one of Naruto's out-of-the-box ideas. If this works even half as well as the galleon thing you did, we're going to need to get a bigger vault. Sirius and Naruto had made huge bank off of a scam they pulled. The average galleon could be exchanged to Muggle currency for around 7 Muggle pounds. At the same time, the gold in a galleon could be sold to a Muggle gold shop for several £100s. Instead of exchanging the currency, Naruto had Sirius sell the gold coins to Muggles, and then use the money that he got from that to exchange it into wizard currency. Naruto successfully created a scheme that turned 1 galleon into 50 or more galleons with ease. Sirius had to go to Gringotts Bank and get a large vault just to hold all of the gold that he had made off of the secret scheme. He also got Naruto his own vault. Naruto had discovered something at Hogwarts. Wizards were amazingly ignorant to Muggle society, with most wizards choosing to never willingly go into the Muggle world. Almost all wizards lacked many math skills, seeing as subjects such as those weren't really taught in school. Naruto and Sirius, who were smart and lived in Muggle society to watch Harry, had become very knowledgeable about their society. Thus, Naruto learned just how ignorant wizards were and how to best take advantage of that ignorance. And it's done. Naruto pulled out a flask and filled it up, before he took a large swig of it. It worked. Avada Kedavra. Naruto cast the unforgivable killing curse, and murdered a small spider that was crawling on the ceiling. Naruto locked eyes with Sirius, and the two of them nodded their heads at each other. The 3 unforgivable curses. The use of any of these curses on a human was a lifelong sentence to the wizard prison. If Naruto's potion had worked, then there was about to be a squad of ministry wizards banging at their doors in minutes to check out what happened. If Naruto had the trace on him, then they would know that the spell had been cast. Nothing. It worked. No ministry wizards. Sirius looked out the window. That was a risky move. Where did you learn the killing curse? Sirius asked Naruto with a raised brow. He didn't remember teaching that. Well, I figured if Voldemort comes back someday, we need to know what we're dealing with. So, I snuck into the restricted section at school and started to learn all the different dark arts, and I practiced a bit. 5th-year students get shown and taught about these curses, so even with the trace I was able to practice in the Forbidden Forest at school. Naruto wanted to know how to use a bunch of the most foul spells there were, so that he could learn how to counter them. Both he and Sirius fully expected Voldemort to rise back to power one day, and they wanted to be ready. Naruto made sure to get very good at the killing curse, because if he ever came face to face with Voldemort, he fully planned to make use of it. The killing curse was normally unblockable by most defensive spells. Meaning, a good curse to the face would leave Voldemort just as dead as anyone else. It just so happened that most wizards were too self-righteous to use the dark arts to fight the dark arts. Ooh, okay then, and you? Oh, I plan to save this curse for Voldemort, and Peter if I ever meet the fucker. Naruto only had 2 people on his list of targets for this curse. Those were the only humans he ever intended to ever use the curse against. Once both of those people were dead, Naruto would swear off ever using the killing curse again. The sound of an owl. Naruto and Sirius had their hearts freeze when they saw an owl show up. Hogwarts letter. Naruto sighed in relief that the owl was not from the Ministry of Magic, and Sirius sighed in relief as well. Naruto and Sirius made very brief eye contact with each other, before Sirius rushed to the front door and opened it wide. He looked and saw another owl drop a letter right into the Disley house's mail slot, before flying off. Sirius let out a bark-like laugh and ran out of the front door. Sirius, bad dog. Down. Sit, stay. Haha. I've been waiting for a decade for this. Sirius joyfully rushed to the front door of the Disley's home, before he knocked on it. Naruto caught up to him moments later, shorter legs after all. Shouting could be heard inside. The door opened. Vernon Disley opened the door. Ah, Regulus, what brings Vernon's eyes widened in horror when Sirius pointed a wand right at his face, and some sparks came out of the wand and singed his mustache. You're one of them. Vernon had a dripping hate in his voice, but he cowardly backed away from Sirius. Yeah, I am, and take a look at this. Sirius, I love messing with them just as much as you, but hold it in for a second. Naruto swung his wand. The wallpaper inside the house turned green, a very puke green color. There was a scream from the kitchen. Oh, Harry, your godfather wishes to see you. Come on out, no reason to hide. I've got a letter for you. Sirius picked up the Hogwarts letter off of the ground. You are right. Damned. Sirius stated as he slashed his wand, and just like that he transformed the stairs in the house into a slide. Naruto complemented it by casting a spell on the front lawn. It started to turn brown as it died off. There was Harry. Right then, Harry, if you will, come here for a second and just touch my hand, and do be ready for a rather unpleasant feeling, but it will be worth it. Sirius stated as he extended his hand towards Harry. Excuse me, but what is going on? Harry asked, unsure about anything that was going on. Just take his hand, Harry. He's your family, and your family old enough to know the truth. Like how mysterious things happen around you, or why you live with these rats. Naruto cast a spell and transformed Vernon into a rat. When his wife and son came around the corner, Naruto transformed them into rats as well. The 3 rats huddled in the corner, when Naruto turned them back into humans. Harry was amazed by what he saw. That was like magic. It wasn't like magic, it was magic. Now come, Harry, I'll explain everything I know to you. Harry nervously touched Sirius' hand. Pop. They both popped out of existence, and the Dursleys screamed at the top of their lungs when they saw more magic used in their house, but it would seem now that Sirius was gone, Vernon gained more of a backbone. Once he was just dealing with Naruto, 13, soon to be 14-year-old, and half his size, he gained a spine and got up. You turned my house. He lost his spine when Naruto poked his wand at his gut. I don't hate you nearly as much as Sirius does, but Naruto took his wand off of Vernon and pointed it at the house he and Sirius lived in. The house was set on fire from a distance, and Vernon whimpered. Naruto pointed his wand back at Vernon, threateningly, showing that he could do the same to this house. He and Sirius would no longer be using that muggle house anymore. The only things they even had in the house were beds to sleep in, and food to eat. Anything else they wanted they went to the real house to get. You put my house. You can pay money to have this stuff fixed if you want. Like this, Naruto destroyed the wall between the living room and the kitchen. Easily fixed the emotional scars you gave Harry, not easy to fix. This, Naruto slashed his wand down, and all the dishes in the kitchen started to fly out of the cabinets and crash onto the floor. You can buy more. The treatment you gave Harry, he will never forget this. Please, no more? Fine, I am sure none of you will ever see Harry Potter again after today anyway. Once Sirius explains everything to him, I know Harry would rather live with us than ever spend another day with you. Naruto just needed to wait for Sirius to come back and get him. Naruto looked around the house to see if there was anything else he could do to cause some harm. Naruto pointed to the photos on the walls and changed them to pictures of pigs and rats. I knew you lot were no good, I knew it. Ever since my freak of a sister. Naruto silenced her. He actually cast a spell to silence her, so that when she spoke no sound came out at all. Naruto smiled at her when she grabbed her throat and tried to speak again, only for the sound of air to escape her throat. It will wear off eventually, Naruto told her. But for the rest of your life, you will be getting this out of the carpet, Naruto stated as he raised his wand. It started to rain glitter in the room. Sirius popped back. He's in a little shock about being a glitter nice choice in mess, and I see you rearranged things in here nicely. Good job, son. Sirius wrapped his arm around Naruto's shoulders. He nodded his head in satisfaction. Pop. It felt like being squeezed through a hole, but in a second Naruto was standing at 12 Grimmauld Place. I hate that, Naruto stated. He preferred Broom. I'm not the biggest fan of it either, but look at this place. It's about to really become a home. Sirius was giddy. The happiest he had been in a long time. Grimmauld Place, his family home, had used to be dark, gloomy, green and silver-colored with lots of black. Now, it had been transformed due to 2 years of hard work, leaving the house bright and shining with red and gold paints and colors all around. All of the old paintings on the walls were done away with, and all of the old silver and gold was gone as well. The entire house was redone on the inside completely, making it 100% impossible to recognize for what it had been. Dumbledore was there. It seems you've ignored my advice about. I'm done. I watched for 10 years as Harry suffered, and I will stand by and watch no more. James and Lily made me the godfather, and it is finally time for me to step into my role, Sirius stated simply, standing up to Dumbledore, who actually smiled and seemed to accept it. He nodded to Naruto. And young Naruto, what do you think you are, perhaps wise beyond your years? Do you think you and Sirius can provide this home better protection than that of Lily's blood with her sister? Yes. Oh? The Fidelius charm, if you cast it and make me and Sirius the secret keepers, then Harry can enjoy a happy home life. Nobody will come knocking that we don't trust, and the Fidelius charm won't break on Harry's 17th birthday. Naruto just gave his opinion. It was ancient and powerful magic that Sirius and Dumbledore could perform, and it could be used to hide a secret in somebody's soul. Last time that failed. Last time Peter was the secret keeper, and he was working with Voldemort from the beginning. Sirius is the most loyal man alive. He will protect Harry with his life if he needs to. Harry might not be my sibling, but he's my dad's godson. That makes he his older brother. I will protect him too, be it from Death Eaters or Voldemort himself. Naruto had no problem saying any of that. Alas, you make a wonderful point, and with that, I can approve of this. That settled it. Harry Potter never returned to the Dursleys after that day. Boom. Harry was startled awake to the sound of an explosion going off. He jolted away quickly, and tried to dodge the bottom of the stairway that he slept under, only for him to realize that he wasn't sleeping under the stairs anymore, but in his own bedroom. Harry looked around the mostly empty room. It was painted red and gold like the rest of the house that he now lived in. Since Harry didn't have any belongings of his own yet, his room was kind of empty. Next to his bed was a picture of his parents that Sirius had given him. The picture moved. Naruto, I sweat if you ruined the cake. You'll do what? Sirius and Naruto seemed to be arguing about something, and Harry was kind of curious. He got out of bed and put his glasses on. Before he walked across his bedroom was a weird thought for him. It was weirder knowing that somewhere in the house was his godfather, who had been silently watching over him for years, and his godfather's adopted son. Harry entered the living room. It was filled with confetti and bright colors, with smoke in the air. Harry waved it out of his way, before the smoke cleared up enough for him to see it. Happy 11th birthday, Harry. Ah, he woke up before we were done decorating. Damn. Naruto stated as he showed a cake in his hands, and he was laughing slightly. Harry looked at the cake, and noticed that it had his name on it, and everything. It was a great big cake as well. Sirius, Harry. Naruto alerted Sirius to the fact that Harry was awake and in the room. Sirius jumped off the chair he was standing on, and extended his arms. Harry, I guess the surprise is a little ruined now, but happy birthday. Breakfast isn't ready just yet, so you'll have to make do with a little of this. Sirius waved his wand, and toast came flying out of the kitchen and landed right in Harry's hand. Harry just looked around the room in wonder. There were presents in front of the fireplace. Are those for you, and they are from friends of your parents, Sirius, and me too. Naruto gestured towards the small stack of presents that were waiting for Harry to open. Sirius, Hagrid is going to be showing up later, so I'm going to enlarge all the door frames. Naruto realized when he saw the present that was from Hagrid, and it reminded him that he was going to have to change the sizes of parts of the house. Hagrid? Harry asked. Naruto passed him, and Naruto just placed a hand on his head and ruffled his messed up hair. You'll meet him later. Happy birthday, you scrawny little git. Naruto teased as he finished ruffling Harry's hair, before he gave Harry a few good pats on the ribs. Now off you go, shoo shoo shoo. Naruto pushed Harry out of the living room and back towards his room. In Harry's room. Harry had been bullied his entire life. He couldn't help the huge smile that came over his face though from the interaction that he just had with Naruto. The way that Naruto teased him seemed to hold no malice at all, even though he insulted him. The way that Naruto called him scrawny was just so different than the way that his other family called him scrawny. Some time passed. The smile didn't leave his face at all, even when his bedroom door opened up and he was greeted with the sight of a scar-faced man. Ah, the man of the hour. Come, Harry. Breakfast is ready. Remus Lupin. I'm a good friend of your father's, and come to wish you a happy birthday, Remus stated as he gestured for Harry to follow. Oh yes, sir. Sir, I haven't been called that before. I guess you take after your mother with manners like that. This house could use some manners. Remus laughed under his breath. The smell hit Harry and distracted him, and his brain got tickled by the smell of great food. He walked right past the living room, which was fully decorated in its entirety. Harry was greeted with a feast that was on the table in the dining room. His mouth watered as an unstoppable reaction, and it was only after he saw all of the food that he noticed all of the people sitting around the table waiting for him. A man, a huge man, as tall as 3 grown men, was sitting at the end of the table. He would guess that was Hagrid, and now he understood why the doors in the house had to be enlarged. He was greeted to the sight of quite a few grown people sitting around the table, with the only person who was around his age though a few years older than him, being Naruto himself. Sirius stood up. Harry, come, sit down. We'll introduce to everyone after we eat. Welcome back to the Wizarding World, Harry Daedalus Diggle. I served in the Order of the Phoenix with your parents. A very excited man rushed to Harry and guided him to a seat next to him at the table. I remember you. I saw you in a shop once. Yep, because Dumbledore had him watching you sometimes when you left the safety of the Dursleys. Naruto looked at Harry, and he saw Sirius was beaming with happiness at seeing Harry happy. Harry, for the shock of everything happening to him, seemed to be genuinely happy. Naruto smiled to himself, and with a wave of his own wand, food started to fly off the various parts of the table and landed right on Harry's plate. Oh, Sirius, got a bit o' brandy. You'll need a bit more than a spot of brandy. That I will happy to see you, Harry. Last time I saw ye, you were no bigger than a bowtruckle. Bowtruckle? Harry was consumed about the word, and the kindly eyes of the giant man looked into his own. Hagrid was a very friendly man despite his huge size, and Harry did feel comfortable with him. Harry looked all around the table, and saw people were overall getting along with each other. Everyone was eating now that he had his food. Harry looked at Sirius, who was pouring Hagrid in a giant mug brandy. He then looked at Naruto, who had his plate resting on his chest as he leaned back in his chair to an unnatural degree. Naruto gave a fox-like snicker as his eyes narrowed. Go on, you can't put on any size if you don't eat, Naruto stated, and like magic magically a baked potato flew into Harry's mouth. It tasted amazing. Harry had the best birthday of his entire life that day. He got real presents too. Sirius gave him an invisibility cloak that belonged to his father, and a picture album of his parents. Hagrid had given him a hand-carved wood flute. Remus had taken the chance to give him a broom care kit, which had been a big spoiler for a later gift since Naruto had gotten Harry his own Nimbus 2000. Daedalus gifted him an enchanted set of gobstones, whatever a gobstone was. The gruff man who hadn't really spoken at the table at all, a scarred man named Alastair Moody, had brought him his own flask to drink from. He got clothes as well, clothes that fit him, and weren't just the unused clothes of his cousin. Harry was currently obsessed with looking over the photo album that belonged to his parents. Now that is a nice present. On my 11th birthday, Sirius gave me this mirror that lets us talk to each other, Naruto stated as he walked into Harry's room. Naruto sat down next to Harry on his bed. Naruto had another present in his hand, and he passed it to Harry. I couldn't give this to you at the party. It was really hard to get this, Naruto stated with a smile to Harry. What is it? Open it up, Naruto stated as he gestured to Harry. Harry opened it, and all that was inside of it was a white wand. My own wand? No, I'm giving you the gift of revenge. I went to the remains of your old house, and searched the remains for that. That is the wand of the man who killed your parents, and if you want, you can break that wand right now. Naruto had wanted to give Harry a sense of closure and satisfaction. The wand that was in Harry's hand was the wand that had been abandoned in the ruins of his parents' home. Naruto had visited the place and searched all over for the wand. Harry looked at the wand. This. Voldemort was his name. He killed your parents and put that scar on your head. He's still out there, weak, powerless. This was his wand. I felt you deserved the chance to break his wand. A wizard's wand is part of them. It is like an extension of us. Voldemort robbed you of your parents, so I wanted to let you rob him of something he no doubt cared about, Naruto stated as he placed a hand on Harry's shoulder. He didn't want anyone to see what he went and searched for. Harry felt a great weight in his hands. This. Yep, your mother sacrificed her life for you, and doing that gave you the ultimate protection. It's old magic, so when Voldemort tried to kill you it rebounded and hit him instead. If anyone deserves the chance to break Voldemort's wand, it's you, Naruto stated as he soothed Harry with his words. Harry grabbed the wand, and he struggled slightly, before he managed to snap the wand like the twig that it was. He actually did feel a great satisfaction with himself, like a weight that he didn't know was on his shoulders was lifted. Naruto stood up and started to walk out of the room. How did you come to live with Sirius? Naruto stopped. I'll tell you later, Harry, but we do have something in common. If you ever need my help with something, you come to me, Naruto teased Harry as he left the room. Naruto closed the door behind him. Sirius was there. Now that was the best gift of the night. You know, you might have just made yourself the enemy of every Death Eater, and Voldemort himself for what you gave Harry, Sirius stated with a smirk. Naruto grinned. I'm a mudblood, there was never a world where I could be friendly with them anyway. I'll take all the credit for stealing the wand. That way when Voldy finds out, will target me first. Naruto wasn't going to let Harry take the punishment for that. Sirius smiled and ruffled Naruto's hair. You're a good brother. He's your godson, and you adopted me, so I guess Harry and I are kind of brothers, aren't we? Oh well, I'm going to practice this neat spell I've been working on. Naruto walked off with a grin and a fox-like snicker, while Sirius gave his bark of a laugh and followed Naruto. He pat Naruto roughly on the back. Sirius grinned. He was so glad that he never went to Azkaban. What if Naruto is a fox wizard at Hogwarts? And here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.